Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Firebug, and today's video I'm gonna be providing you guys some Bellona gameplay with the Action Camera 2.0 is what I'm gonna call it. But today's topic is it's basically gonna be Action Camera and some of the things that I'm gonna be doing behind the scenes in my videos. So sit back and enjoy the arena gameplay, and let me explain why I'm playing arena. So I am still gonna keep playing Conquest, of course. It's my favorite game mode. It's just that I wanted to test some things since the new patch just came out today, or during this time of recording, that is July 29th. So OB15 is going to be with basically no anti-heal in the game, and some of the anti-heal game items have been removed, other ones have changed, and I'm kind of just testing things out. So that's why I'm playing arena, testing out gods, testing out the action camera, testing out just a bunch of things that I haven't got the chance to have my hands-on experience since I didn't have the PTS and all that. So, and sometimes when I use the PTS, some of the things don't even go through all the way to the actual final patch. So I was been waiting for this patch for quite some time, and I just wanted to test some things out, with Bellona. And well, this video is mainly just the action camera, right? So please do not copy the build. The build's kind of dog shit. I've been testing out different builds for Bellona. No, I'm not using any of the new items just yet. I'm gonna go in practice mode and basically test them out and see what each and every new item does. But there's a lot more new healing items. But in this video, I'm not gonna go over the whole patch notes, what the changes are. It's basically, this video is just gonna talk about the action camera. So going back to my last video, the Soul video, or aka I Am Firebug music video, and you haven't checked that out, I'll put the card, YouTube card, on the top right, and all you have to do is click on it and it will send you directly to the music video. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead, check it out, and then come back. But during the video, I was using action camera in some of my clips that I pulled off, and I've been thinking to myself, I should probably utilize action camera a little bit more, since not a lot of people are using it, and there is some good reason why not a lot of people are using it. But there's also, I believe there is some pros and cons of using the action camera, and the 2.0 was really what I really wanted. So in the Soul video, or I Am Firebug music video, I was using the action camera, the very first one, the one that is shown on screen right now with the Bellona gameplay is the 2.0 version, right? So there is some things that are, a little annoying. So first is the line. I don't need it, but I understand why they have it, but I wish there was an option that you can change it. But after doing a lot of settings and looking through the settings and turning off basically every targeter that I've seen, it still appears. I personally don't use the lines, but I do use the ground target, and the ground target's mainly what I use, right, to indicate like, okay, so I can go up or down by looking upwards or downwards, basically, to throw my ability. I also don't use crosshairs in this game. It's not like I don't like crosshairs. I use crosshairs in my other games, but it's just that in Smite, I have a tendency to look at the enemy and not the crosshair that I'm using, right? And you might be wondering, well, wouldn't you miss a lot of your shots if you don't use the crosshair? And actually, you'd be surprised. Most of the time, when I'm focusing on an enemy, I'm lining my shots pretty well. And I rather see where the enemy is, and then I kind of just line it up in my... Okay, I'm going to step back. I played this game for quite some time. Almost, I think, 12 years. And I've gotten used to the point that I don't really use the crosshair when I'm fighting. Interesting enough. And I actually tend to look at my enemies more than the crosshair. So, and half the time, I feel like it's just a distraction and it gets in the way. The Action Camera 2.0 puts my crosshair slightly below than the usual. So my brain keeps thinking that I had to look downwards, but I should really try focusing on my camera to look a little bit slightly upwards. And I wish I could turn it off, but again, some of the settings is a little wonky, especially with this patch, because they changed the whole settings menu, and I feel like it actually made it worse. Yes, it is, you know, nice, beautiful, easy to find your, you know, settings a little bit better, blah, 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 blah. But I also feel like it's sometimes when you turn on or off the settings, it just doesn't work. So it is a little frustrating, but this is day one of the patch. They might do a hot fix during the time of this recording. So, but going back to the topic of why am I starting to use Action Camera? Because I wanted to have more of a new player's perspective. I've been playing this game for 12 years and I've been using the original camera and I love it. You know, the Action Camera is quite interesting. I do like it. There is some pros and cons. So first things first, I'll just talk about the pros. The pros is you get to admire your character, you get to admire the skins, you actually see a lot more detail in the map, the grass, the environments. It looks really pleasing in the eyes. So I can understand that the eye candy effect can really bring in new players. Let's say like my friends, right, never heard of Smite, whatever, and I introduced them with, you know, Smite 1, and they're like, oh, Smite 1? Sure, I'll give it a shot. And the first time they play it, they see the graphics, they see how the camera looks. They're like, yeah, it's alright, but would they keep continuing playing? Probably not. But with Smite 2, with the Action Camera, they're like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Marvel Rivals. So I feel like it's really like that kind of style that they're trying to push for new players, and it works. I honestly think it is a lot more pleasing in the eyes. Another thing I realized with using Action Camera is my abilities feel more impactful, right? The original camera, right? I didn't really care too much what my abilities kind of look like. I just kept playing the game. Plus, in Smite, like, who really cares about ability effects, pixel effects, the polygons, and shit thrown in this, you know, the air, right? Especially if it's a team fight of 5v5. So, and each player has basically 4 abilities. So you get the idea. Like, that's that's a lot of like ability effects going through the screen and all that. So I usually turn my settings. I usually turn the effects all the way down, so I can see where the enemy is, not the beautiful effects and all that, right? But in Action Camera, I get to notice my abilities, and it feels more impactful. Like, I actually can feel it in a weird sense of a way. Like, I can feel every time Bellona throws her ult down, how it like impacts through the ground, right? I can feel it with the Action Camera a little bit more, and it's hard to describe unless you yourself use the Action Camera. But in my opinion, I feel like you get more of the immersion that you're like playing this game. So it is interesting, and I've been testing it out throughout my videos. Well, only 2 videos so far, this one and my solo video, or music video, right? Going back to my solo video, the action camera one is kind of wonky because you can throw your abilities, abilities and your basic attacks upwards, even though in Smite there's no point of throwing your abilities or basic attacks up to the sky, and it's because like you can't hit anything. That's not how Smite works. It's really wonky to try to explain this. So so in Smite, original camera and this camera, right? If I look upwards or downwards, like I can still do it, but with the action camera 2, since I'm using Bellona, I can't really showcase this, but if I have a ranged character that throws basic attacks and it has a range ability, I can shoot it upwards, up to the sky. And I don't know why that's a thing in the action camera, the first action camera. And that's why I had that kind of funny moment in my soul video that I was throwing the basics up in the air and it had that goofy effect. Even though, like, yes, some characters are going up in the sky, but you cannot hit them. You cannot hit the enemies up in the sky. There's no, like, game code that allows you to do that. So I always thought it was wonky. But once I saw this action camera 2.0, it fixes that problem. So yes, you can still look upwards and downwards, but all of the basic attacks will always hit straight, like straight towards you. So it feels really good playing with characters like Bellona or melee characters, or basically the ones you have to get up really close and fight, and the basics feel a lot better. I haven't really have the whole full grasp of range basic attacks with action camera just yet, but I'm still testing that out throughout not just this like this Bellona gameplay, but behind the scenes. I'm still testing out the whole patch, and I'm kind of like conflicted because I'm starting to enjoy action camera. All right, so that's some of the pros. The cons is, one, I feel like there should be a settings of the POV, because I feel like the POV, I do like how it's a little bit closer to your character and all that, and has that kind of feel to it, like the immersion. But I wish that I could just set it back just a tiny bit. I feel like Bellona or some other characters like, let's say Capri, Cabrakan, those really big characters, right? They kind of take out majority of your screen. So it's kind of hard to see the full left side of your screen. And why is that important? Because in Smite, let's say like if I was playing Conquest, in Arena this doesn't really matter, but and let's say like I'm playing Conquest, and I noticed this when I was playing Soul and Conquest as the hunter, right, in action camera. But you're more prone, if you're using action camera, you're more prone to get ganked more, and you won't be able to notice that you're getting ganked. And even in this gameplay, it's kind of hard to like sense your surrounding and distance. So like distance is kind of like an issue. I can see why they added the line or ruler on the ground, so you can be like, okay, so that's the furthest distance I can throw my ability with this character, right? But you don't have a sense of your surroundings with action camera. and you can get really disoriented. I find myself sometimes, like in big team fights or a lot of things are happening, I get disoriented. And hopefully with new players, they know how to turn off motion blur, because if they didn't, oh my gosh, I cannot imagine having motion blur action camera and you're moving left and right, you know, trying to aim, and then there's so many things happening and effects and all this stuff, and it's like, it's kind of blinding, right? So having the POV a little bit too close, kind of like what it is right now, it's nice to look at your skins, it's nice to look at the gods and goddesses, yeah, but the problem is it's a little too close, and it really screws you over, especially on the left side, because your character's on the left side. Well, Bellona is, you know, not that massive, so she's a good balance. But if you're playing like Hercules or even Thor, I played a Thor match, and his hammer gets in the way, right? Because majority of these gods or goddesses, they're right-handed in Smite 2. So when they're walking, they have their weapon up, and that can also hinder your aiming and what is going on in front of you. So my final thoughts, am I going to keep using action camera? Maybe. I feel like it gives the viewers a more pleasing look to play the game, and I believe it's a great challenge, and I'm gonna keep using it, tell you guys how I feel about it, and if I just end up using it all the time, I'll probably just keep using it. But if I'm like going for ranked games, I probably won't recommend using action camera and probably go back to the original camera. However, I feel like it's kind of entertaining, and it gives it more of like a challenge, right? And that's what I kind of like. I like having new challenges and see if I can actually, you know, keep playing with action camera and have more of a new player perspective, right? Also, I just want to do this so I have a better understanding of what new players' experience is, and eventually these new players is going to be normal players in the next 2 to 3 years. Hopefully, if they actually do stick around. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. What's your thoughts on action camera? Should they change it? Should they add more settings to it? I believe that they should change, or have a setting that you can change the POV at least. Because right now, it's like with some characters, they're a little too massive. And then other characters like Bellona, it fits perfectly. So if there's a setting like that, that's my recommendation, but otherwise it's fine and it works. But let me know in the comments down below what god or goddess you want me to play next, what topic you want me to talk about. And yeah, alright, hope you enjoyed, and leave a like, comment, and subscribe and so you don't miss out another video like this. Alright, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.